There is a dark side to the pineapple under the sea that Nickelodeon tries to pretend does not exist. This is not about silly jokes, it is about scenes that were so disturbing they had to be deleted immediately after they aired. Every second of this history is filled with shocking details that explain why the show is constantly under fire. Brace for a journey into the deep trench of banned media where the most controversial secrets are finally revealed. Nickelodeon has been busy cleaning up the history of its biggest star, but they cannot hide everything. Basically, the most famous banned episode is a story called Midlife Crustacean from Season 3. This episode was aired on November 6, 2002 and stayed on television for a long time. In the story, Mr. Krabs feels old and wants to have a wild night with SpongeBob and Patrick. They do a lot of silly things, like jumping on beds and stealing an ice cream truck. However, the ending of the episode features something called a panty raid. The characters break into a house to take women's underwear. It turns out the house belongs to Mr. Krabs' mother, and he gets in big trouble. For years, people thought this was a weird joke, but in 2021, the network took it off of every streaming service and stopped showing it on TV. They said it was because the episode showed breaking and entering and taking things without asking, which is not a good look for a kid's show. What most people don't realize is that this episode is now a ghost. You can find it on old DVDs, but it is gone from the internet. This was a huge deal because the line, "Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?" is one of the biggest memes ever. Fans were upset because other episodes show much worse things like characters getting hurt or being mean, but this one was the only one to get the boot. Another big ban happened with an episode called Quarantine Crab from Season 12. This one was made in 2019, but it did not air in the United States until April 29, 2022. The story is about a sickness called the clam flu that hits the Krusty Krab. Everyone has to stay inside and they start to get mean to each other because they are scared of getting sick. Because of the real-world health crisis that started in 2020, the network thought the episode was too sensitive. They did not want to remind people of the scary things happening outside their homes. It aired in Canada and France first, but it was hidden in the United States for a long time. Even now, it is hard to find on some platforms. Then there is a case of Just One Bite from Season 3. This episode is not fully banned, but a big chunk of it was cut out. There is a scene where Squidward tries to break into the Krabby Patty vault and sets off a trap. The trap was a bucket of gas that fell, and then a robot arm lit a match. It caused a massive fire. After the events of September 11th, 2001, the network decided that showing fires and explosions was too scary. Now, the episode just skips the explosion and shows Squidward looking burnt. Everyone's obsessed with finding the original version because it makes the scene much funnier. These big bans are just the surface of what the network has tried to hide over the years. Secrets from the vault suggest that even more disturbing scenes were almost made. So here's the deal. Censorship in this show happens way more than people think. Take the episode Sailor Mouth from Season 2. This is the one where the characters learn bad words from a trash can. We hear dolphin sounds instead of the words. But the truth is that the actors actually said real bad words during the recording. Those tapes are hidden in a vault somewhere. There was a line that was deleted where SpongeBob told someone to go do something rude to themselves. It was too clear what he meant, even with the dolphin noise, so they cut it. Everyone's obsessed with the idea that those original tapes might leak someday. In the United Kingdom, they even cut out words like booger because they thought it was too gross for kids. Then we have procrastination. In this episode, there were scenes that were cut for being too weird. One scene showed Patrick putting sun lotion on Sandy while she was in a bikini. People thought it looked too much like a date, so it was removed. Another scene showed a car crash that was also taken out because of safety concerns. Hands down, the strangest edit is in the episode Someone's in the Kitchen with Sandy. In this one, Plankton steals Sandy's fur. Originally, Sandy was supposed to look like a realistic pink hairless squirrel. She looked like a monster with bones sticking out. It was so scary that the crew had to change it so she was wearing underwear instead. Even with the change, it is still one of the most unsettling moments in the whole show. People also talk about Rockabye Bivalve. This episode showed SpongeBob and Patrick acting like a mom and dad to a baby bird. Some people did not like that two boy characters were parents. There was also a deleted part where they spit food into the baby's mouth like real birds do. The network thought it was too disgusting to show. International versions of the show are even more strict. In places like Egypt and Indonesia, they blur out anytime a character is not wearing a lot of clothes. They even blur out Sandy when she is in her bikini at the beach. In South Korea, they banned episodes that showed animals being treated poorly. It shows how different parts of the world see the same cartoon in very different ways. Strange drawings from the past prove the show almost became a horror movie. This key detail can shock fans who think the show is always happy. When the artists draw the episodes on paper, they sometimes put in things that are too dark. In an episode called Dying for Pie, there was a drawing of Squidward having his heart worked on by a doctor. It showed his heart bleeding and SpongeBob trying to stop it with his hands. It was way too much blood for a kids show, so they toned it down. Another scary idea was in Snowball Effect. Squidward was supposed to have a dungeon made of snow where he had tools to hurt snowmen. He was acting like a villain from a scary movie. The bosses at the network said no because it was too violent. In the episode Clams, Mr. Crab was supposed to talk to his parents, but they were shown as tombstones in a graveyard. It was a very sad and dark joke that did not fit the fun tone of the show. Things get even crazier when you look at the episode Love That Squid. There was a scene where SpongeBob was in bed with a sandwich and acting like it was his girlfriend. It was very uncomfortable to watch, so they changed it to a picnic instead. Feral Friends is another one that has some scary history. The characters turned into real sea animals, but the transition was supposed to look painful. Their bodies were going to stretch and pop until they looked like real fish. It looked like something out of a science fiction horror movie. Even the very first episodes had issues. In Reef Blower, there is a scene where SpongeBob breaks the ground under Squidward's house. The house falls over and is destroyed. They cut it because they did not want kids to think breaking things was funny. Basically, the show is always fighting a battle between being funny and being too scary. Hidden references to internet horror stories actually made it onto the screen. It's been missing for years, but the legend of Squidward's ending his time is the most famous story on the internet. It is a fake story about a lost episode where Squidward ends his own life. Most people thought the creators would hate this story, but in an episode called SpongeBob in Random Land, they actually put in a reference to it. For a split second, a door opens and shows a version of Squidward with red eyes and a scary face. It looked exactly like the character from the internet horror story. People could not believe it. However, the network realized it was too scary and might have legal problems. They quickly changed the scene to show a baby Squidward instead. This is one of the only times a fan story actually changed a real show. There are other weird things too. In Gary Takes a Bath, Gary swings an axe at SpongeBob. In the original version, it was a real sharp axe. They changed it to a cookie tray because they did not want to show a weapon. But if you look closely, you can still see a closet full of empty snail shells, which is very creepy. Some people think there is a secret meaning to every episode. There is a theory that the characters are all based on the 7 deadly sins. For example, Mr. Krabs is greed and Patrick is sloth. While the creators have not said that this is true, the way the characters act make it seem possible. What most people don't realize is that the show's creator, Steven Hillenburg, was a marine biologist. He wanted the show to be about nature, but the network wanted it to be about jokes. This led to a lot of the weirdness we see today. The final secrets of the deep show that the world of the sponge is bigger than anyone thought. To be honest, the history of this show is a mix of accidents and choices. There are over 20 episodes that have been changed in over 200 countries. That's a lot of missing footage. Some people think there is a lost pilot where the characters say bad words and act mean, but there's no proof that it exists. However, we do know that the show has to change to keep up with the times. What was funny 20 years ago might be seen as bad today. This is why the Panty Raid episode was taken down. As we look at all these bans and cuts, we have to wonder if we are losing a part of TV history. Is it better to hide the mistakes or let people see them and learn? The world of Bikini Bottom is still growing, and new episodes are being made every day. This means there will probably be more bans in the future. Are there episodes airing right now that will be gone in 5 years? It is a question that keeps many fans awake at night. The yellow sponge is a global icon, but even icons have secrets they want to keep buried at the bottom of the ocean. Is it right for a network to delete history just because it is controversial? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite shows.